put it on
It's on now.
because we have to let it be on.
Yes.
Hi,
Okay.
Pat. Oh, Lashana, you got in.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
I sent her the link today.
Oh, great. There's Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Pat?
Hi.
Pat Deegan, yeah.
Buddy, up.
Hi, Pat.
Hi, Diane.
I'm still trying to find the agenda. I can do this. Oh, this one's
And
presentation.
Carol. Carol's on.
Hi.
Hi.
I just realized I had taco salad, so does that count, Diane?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it does.
Close enough. We have a few people eating dinner because it's the only opportunity, so. I thought we'd give it just a couple more minutes for people to join us and then we'll get started. I'll be your
Sounds
meeting
good.
leader tonight. Hi,
Thanks,
Claudia
Steve.
and Pat.
What was it?
Buddy.
Is she cooking?
Yes, Lashana cooking
Yep.
up out there. Good for
Making
you.
spaghetti.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
nice. Hey, we don't have
Make
any
it for you.
problem with people eating dinner or whatever.
I got some candy here.
Oh, that works too, Bill.
Are you sharing?
Sure, here. Here.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Oh, we haven't figured that out yet.
Oh.
All right.
Nice.
Love it.
Hi, Carol. You're joining us
Hi,
by
how are you
phone,
doing?
huh? All right.
This Carol Ingram?
It's Carol Ingram. It may show up as Colleen Stulte because I'm on her plan.
It shows Carol Z and then I ... So I would be for Ingram. So you're on there. You're legit.
Hey, Carol, it's Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
We're moving right into Easter.
So-
This is leftover from last Easter.
Oh, okay. It works. Carol, Carol, can you see us?
I can see you, yes.
Okay, so you'll know who's speaking, but it's not a bad idea if you're speaking besides me and my mouth that you identify yourself.
So I was wondering, so before we get started, I was wanting to share a profound thing I heard about meetings. So
Okay.
Meetings are events where minutes are kept and hours are lost.
Ah, very
Oh,
good.
that's a good one.
I didn't.
Kathy's our minutes person tonight.
Yes.
That is a good one, Bill.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think Bill's rushing the season a bit.
Looking forward to it. That's all right. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started.
Ball.
Disco balls, that works.
Yeah.
A lot of us can remember disco balls. Yeah. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm glad you took your hours to join us tonight and not lost, I hope. I'm Jean Monger and my buddy here is Larry Monger, my husband, and he's our board assistant when I need it. Yeah. And then I'll introduce the rest of the board that's here. So on my screen, Gidget Terpstra is first. Hi, Gidget. Diane Hetrick.
It's me.
Yep. Kathy Goodrich.
Hello.
Diane Lindberg. Got another hat on now. Marla Tullio. Jay Sundahl. And now we even have Dale with us. Glad you could make it, Dale.
Thank you.
Glad you could come. Okay. So our first item, we normally start with membership. And the membership is normally an accounting of the newsletters we send. We're kind of going to expand that and revise that to an outreach report. And for the outreach report, then we'll include the newsletter. I got some extra noise here.
It's probably me.
Oh. Oh, there we go.
Sorry about that.
No, noise is good. I just want to be sure we can all catch what's being said. Thank you. So the membership, we're expanding into outreach, which will include the newsletter mailing count, which is still 677 because we haven't been sending out the newsletter. And then we have on Facebook, 567 folks engaged. Our email list that goes out to ELNA neighbors is 385. And next door, which some participate in, is 1,566. So it's got the biggest number. So we'll be giving that outreach report at our monthly meetings. Next on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Dale?
Well, you caught me with my mouthful.
Oh, that's okay.
So we have been steady in the last 5 months at $678.04. We've had no income, but we've had no expenses, and we've earned no interest income. So that's about as flat line as you can get.
Which is not a bad thing, right?
Well, no, but just means we're not doing anything.
Under the circumstances.
Yeah, under the circumstances. So I looked at the 2020 budget, and in 2020, our meeting expenses were budgeted at $100. We ended up with $0 for meeting expenses. We expected an income of $125 for the book fair, but we got $0. We budgeted $100 for meeting donations, and in January we received $8. So, had we met all year long, we would have met that. We had a city contribution for the picnic of a budget at $400 and picnic expenses at $400, and we had actual $0. So we really had no expenses this year. We had budgeted for Echo Lake PTA books for kids, but there was no PTA book for kids drive, and so it's kind of hard to know what to budget for next year.
Well, there were some computer expenses, Dale.
There were some computer expenses, and there was the yearly domain renewal. So all told, we did have $209 of expenses this year. So, and that was, if I recall, that was for our yearly incorporation for our web domain. We bought Zoom. And I believe that was the sum total of our expenses. So a little hard to know how to budget for next year. And I have not prepared a budget for 2021. And I think at the next board meeting, I think we'll talk about what we want to do. The hope is that here by summer, late summer, that there'll be enough people with vaccinated that life will start to return to some semblance of pre-pandemic normal. And if that's the case, then we'll start meeting in person. But I'm going to guess that we're not going to meet in person the rest of the year again. I work for the city of Bellevue, and we've already been told that regardless of how many people are vaccinated, that we will not be bringing people back into the office until probably early fall. And then even then, kind of a slow wind. So, you know, we've been at roughly 20% of our building occupancy. I've been there every day, and frankly, it's for those of us who are there, it's kind of nice. But there are a lot of people that we don't see and haven't seen for a long time. And these Zoom meetings are really fantastic. We had a Zoom Christmas party and White Elephant gift exchange by Zoom, and it worked really, really well. And so you can do that. And you know, there was the requisite amount of stealing and thievery and subterfuge and feigned anger, and it was exactly like a real one, and it was a lot of fun. So you know, we can do it, but so we hope that by sometime this fall we can start, you know, thinking about normalcy again.
All right. Well,
So
thank you.
that's my report. We will talk about a budget, but we certainly have some expenses, yearly expenses, and like we said, computer expenses, domain expenses, our yearly incorporation, things like that.
Great.
We will continue.
Thank you for all your
And
work on that.
Welcome. It's, you know, at this point we'll use up our reserves this year probably, but well, we won't use them all up, but we'll eat into our reserves. But that's why we keep them. You know,
Yep.
it's a rainy day.
Yeah, all year.
But
I think
we're
Ellen has joined us. Hi, Ellen.
Yeah,
okay.
And thanks again, Dale. Our
Welcome.
next item is a Council of Neighborhoods report by Gidget.
You're muted, Gidget.
Thank you. Every year, well, I should start with the Council of Neighborhoods, or we refer to as CON, is composed of the 14 neighborhoods in the city of Shoreline, and we meet monthly to share information, what's going on in our neighborhoods, and connect with different city people. So it has been a tradition of CON for the first meeting of the year to have some kind of a training. And this year, CON decided to have a training on how do we move through conflict as we build community. With ever deepening divisions nationally, regionally, and locally, conflict is all around us. The goal of this training is to give a better understanding of how to approach people honestly, directly, and respectfully. So our meeting, and Jean and I went to the meeting, so Jean, please add anything. The first CON meeting was on January 6th for a 2-hour training session. And Aisha Hauser was the facilitator, and she based her training on the book Honest, Direct, Respectful by Dennis Adams, focusing on how conversations of being honest, direct, and respectful without blaming, confronting, or trying to control. And it was a little ironic that the evening that we had this training, that there was conflict in our nation's capital. But the meeting gave us some time to talk and reflect on how we communicate. And one little example that I came away with that was that maybe because I'm Asian, that I am frequently asked, where do you come from? And I just say, well, I was born and raised in Bellevue, and my grandparents came from Japan. So, you know, I figured, well, that kind of answers it all. But what the trainer said is that some people who are asked, where are you from, feel that the person asking feels that, well, they don't really belong from this area. that they are different. And some people may not exactly get offended, but feel a little uncomfortable with the question and the person asking the question. So I never kind of felt that way, but I thought it was an interesting perspective on how someone else might interpret the conversation. And the suggestion was instead ask, where did you grow up? Which is a little bit more neutral and still is a conversation starter, and you kind of share personal information. So I just thought that that was kind of interesting. Jane, do you want to add anything more?
It was just an interesting evening of being truthful on what you say. How truthful are you, and and direct, and it was good. There was, I don't know, what, 20, 25 of us. So it was good meeting. Every con meeting is good for the content in it. So we often have a council member that comes, but on training night, we don't. So thank you, Gidget.
Kathy had a question.
Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry. Yes. You're muted, Kathy.
Thank you for that example, Gidget, because there are many times I'm curious, and yet I don't ask for the very reason that was suggested. So where did you grow up is a nice way.
I thought so.
All right, great. Okay, next is miscellaneous meetings report. And I'm not sure if anybody attended any meetings that they wanted to report on. There aren't a lot of meetings going on right now, but okay, seeing none. Jay, the February meeting preview. Jay, you're muted.
I know that. Okay. We're going to have a person from the city talking about the transportation planning project for improvement project. It's going by a different name now. And of course, I don't have my notes in front of me.
Transportation related.
We've lost you again, Jay.
Type and hold down my mute switch here. I'll unmute. That'll make life easier. We'll have a city presentation on what's going on with transportation in Shoreline, and how there's a plan, a couple-year plan for transportation improvement projects in the Shoreline area that we'll kind of go over. It'll be an opening salvo for part of the city presentations in other areas. Other groups will be holding information much like what we'll be getting on February 16th. So it should be an interesting time if you're interested in how to get around to the city of Shoreline in the next couple of years.
Okay, and it will be on Zoom again, so come
Yes.
back for that. Okay, and then I usually pass out an agenda with the year in review on the back of it. Well, it wasn't easy to pass out, so I'm just going to go over it real quick. We met in January with a similar meeting to what we have tonight, and we met in February, February, and then meetings March through June were canceled, and our summer events canceled. September through November, we held Zoom meetings, which seemed to work okay, and we learned a lot of things from those meetings. So all of our events were canceled, all our work parties, our book sale, and the National Night Out Against Crime. I went around with signs around my block watch, but you couldn't have out and out block parties. Food trucks at Echo Lake Park that Marla organizes, we couldn't do that. Our big picnic in July and work party, Celebrate Shoreline, everything was canceled. So hopefully we'll see what happens this year. As Dale pointed out, we're just not sure what's going to happen yet. So we can't make commitments at this point. The other thing that happened this year is we sadly lost our founder and board member emeritus, Dwight Stevens. when he passed away on June 8th, 2020. He knocked on 2,900 doors in 1995, including ours, to get the Echo Lake Neighborhood Association started, and served as chair and board member for many years. It is said that when he stepped down from chair, it took 5 people to replace him. We are so thankful for Dwight's community involvement in many ways, and especially for establishing our very successful Echo Lake Neighborhood Association. Rest in peace, our dear Dwight. So we're going to miss Dwight. He was a real gem of a person. So any comments or questions about that, the year in review? Okay, now we're on to our volunteer recognition. There are a number of people who support our association in addition to our board members. Some of you are here tonight and doing different volunteer work, such as our different garden projects, a number of them, our welcome committee. I see Ellen's here tonight. Our meeting and sign in and membership. That's Larry took over from Bob Whiteley. And communications, Diane does a lot of that, and Jay, and Diane Lindbergh too, and our different event helpers, when they can happen. We had a new position designated as Echo Lake Park Steward. So Pat Deegan, wave Pat, and his wife Claudia, I'm sure she helps too. Pat's been a faithful volunteer watching out for our Echo Lake Park for years and working with the Parks Department for concerns he finds. So he now has an official title and he takes his job seriously. So thanks, Pat. And by the way, yes, give Pat a hand.
Yeah, really.
Okay. And all of you are volunteers in some way. I mean, just by attending our meeting tonight and trying to make our neighborhood a better place. So thank you all for all you do. You may have heard the quip about my parents went to Hawaii and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. Well, in lieu of the normal gifties that everybody receives something, now you've got this magnificent sign.
Backwards.
Nice. Very nice.
Beautiful.
So this is it this year. I'm sorry, but it just wasn't a time to do the gifty thing this year. So thank you so much. It's because of all of you that we exist and we do make our neighborhood a better place. We're well respected in the city, by the way. Okay, next is time for board elections. And we're allowed to have a total of, yes.
Did you mention, I've been impressed with Marla with going to her bog I don't know if they do any bog work this year, but certainly on Echo Lake too, on the water sampling. That's the only other one that I'm aware of is volunteer help also. Very significant.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
Instrumental at the Densmore Pathway also. Marla, do you want to say something?
I've got a lot of pictures of Densmore, and maybe
good.
You can add some information when we get to that. You'll have a visual to go with it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that maybe in the next, by March or April, that we can have some small work parties possibly, and maybe just limit the number of people that are going to be there. I think people are anxious to get out. I know with the native plant stewards for the city of Shoreline, they haven't said, no, we can't work. They're just limiting just you're outdoors, you're wearing a mask, you're staying at least 6 feet, or if not way much further than that.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, bringing your own tools and not having any food there for people to share. So we'll look forward to that. I think that should be easy enough to do over at the Densmore Pathway.
Yeah.
Some new plants. I've already ordered a few plants that are going to be coming in February that I got from Snohomish County, that hopefully we can put some of them in over there too. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, and Marla does native plant steward other areas besides Echo Lake neighborhood. She's very, very involved, keeps her busy.
Yeah. Thank you. Brugger's Bog over on the northeast side of the city. I'm not too sure if that's one of the parks that's going to be considered for the next
Parks bond.
replacement. Yeah.
I
or not.
hope so.
Yeah, we'll see. Any parks is a good thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, now time for board elections, and we're allowed 8 board members by our bylaws. And I don't know if it's good or bad, but the current board has agreed to serving again if it's the will of the association. So with that thought in mind, I will entertain a motion for nominations for the 2021 ELNA board. Are there any nominations for the 2021 ELNA board?
I'm not sure what that means.
Oh,
What you do is you go,
Oh.
I move to nominate the current board. And somebody seconds it.
Okay, I move we nominate the current board.
I second it.
Okay, there we go. 1, 2, okay.
And
Now,
double their pay, but double their.
That's cute. So are there any other nominations besides our current slate of board members? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? We go by Robert's rules here.
Once in a while.
Yeah. So if no other nominations, the nominations are closed. So the current slate of board members, Gidget, myself, Jean, Diane, Jay, Marla, Dale, and Kathy. So what I'm going to do this time is if you would raise your hand, if you would like to vote for that current slate, just raise your hand, not electronically, just raise your hand.
Oh.
Okay, I see all hands raised. So the count is unanimous and you are all elected to the board.
I couldn't see Carol's hand.
Oh, Carol, I want to check with you. Did you raise your hand?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I did.
Thank you, Larry. Larry's my parliamentarian.
Oh, is it out? Is it not in the picture? I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't matter. We wanted to double check. So it is
Oh.
unanimous. Thank you, Carol. And
You're
so
welcome.
we've elected our current board again. So thank you to the board for being willing to serve again. Diane is our communications person and Dale will be our treasurer again. He said he could do that, so we appreciate it. And all the rest of us do our little jobs. So
Can I make a comment?
yes, you may.
Quickly. I know those of us on the board have talked about this, but for those of you not on the board, we're always looking for new people. So just because it's the same old folks again, it doesn't mean that we can't bring in new faces or hopefully have some mentoring or maybe some committees that we can share to bring people on board over the next year or 2 or 3 on into the future. Because a lot of us have got gray hair and not everybody, or gray hair there somewhere. So for those of you that are starting to view us on these Zoom meetings that are not on the board, please consider yourself or someone you might know and always suggest to us. You can email us and think, hey, I think this person might be someone that might be interested in tagging along, young, old, anyone. Thank you.
Good point, Marla, and thank you very much. We have some committees. Some of them are committees of one. And yeah, Ellen?
Ellen, yeah.
Hey, and this committee of one finds that she needs to retire from being welcoming. My skill and main skill is glad handing and encouraging and rabble rousing and encouraging people and and my street cred is not very good anymore. And so I think I have had a lot of things, but somewhere the gumption has left, and my helper, we can't get together. And so the only way I could make it work make myself focus on it was to have Barbara over and do it together over coffee. But I think we need to have somebody else. Well, pretty soon I'm getting my shot soon. So my first shot soon. So maybe I could go back if I had some other people who had already had their shot and we were through this stuff to be membership. But I don't think I did very well this last, 2 or 3 years. So unless somebody really wants to help me out and come over when all this is over, I'm not handling it very well.
Well, it's a difficult time, especially for a welcome committee assignment like that.
Yeah.
And we're having to walk all the time. We spend probably 3 hours walking every day. And after meals and other things, there's just no time. But I'd love to have some help when this all comes over, and then I could do it. But I can't do it alone.
So
We
that's
probably should look at the whole function. For those of you who weren't involved in any part of this, the idea was how do we make new people feel welcome to come join us, be with us, be involved in things? How do we even let them know that we're here? And we've been terrible about it. So this was an idea actually that came out of CON, was to have, actually they started with huge packages that you would send to all your new neighbors. And then we cut that down to a letter saying you can come to a meeting and pick up a packet. And we had real estate agents who were involved with the organization who were looking up new people coming into the neighborhood. And now we've got all of these townhouses with people coming in 6, 8, 10, 12 at a time. So we definitely need to discuss this at some length and maybe get a number of people involved in different ways. So I don't think it's something where we just want to say, hey, somebody want to do this now. And maybe the fact that you weren't doing it means that it really wasn't the right way to do it. That's my 30 cents worth.
But you have done a lot, Ellen, just not more recently, because especially this year, it was hard to do. We'll let you step back, and then if it works out that something happens in the future, then we'll engage you again. But
okay,
also,
of course, I'll still be involved in the Densmore Pathway efforts.
Good. Good.
Great. And you were a former board member. You spent a lot of time doing that, and you've been very supportive. And as you say, the Densmore Pathway, which she lives next door to, so she's kind of obligated. So we'll figure you as a volunteer, just not engaged in the welcome committee. And I think, Diane Hetrick, that's a great idea to look at that, the welcoming and engaging neighbors part. So, okay. So those of you, yes, thank you. So those of you that have had little jobs, and Pat Deegan's got a new title, not a new job. So we'll hope you'll continue those efforts along with all the efforts of the board. So thank you. So in lieu of us being able to really have a volunteer recognition to do, Diane Hetrick put together a slideshow for us. Jay Sundahl helped her, and the rest of the board had some input with us. So at this time, we're gonna have a little fun slideshow. So Diane Hetrick.
Big fun slideshow. Hang on.
Yeah.
I've forgotten what I'm doing again.
We'll give her a minute here to get engaged.
Don't talk about it, Diane. Just do it. Nobody will know.
And following the slideshow, we're going to want to hear from you, and I'll get into that after the slideshow.
So
At the end of the meeting, I could give a little slideshow of today at Echo Lake if you want, if you can make, if you're interested at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Maybe 5 or 6 pictures. Jay would have to make me co-host. Oh, good. This is okay.
There we go.
All
okay,
right.
are we up? Am I visible?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is our logo. This is our sign. I believe it's the 3rd version that we've had over the course of the years, and we're very pleased with this one. So we're going to keep it for a while. These are all the things, as Jeannie said, that we didn't do last year. So we thought we'd just sort of look at it to remember all those fun things and interesting things that we did, and we will be doing them again someday, I'm sure. Okay. And now that's a static shot you're seeing. This is the board. Took a nice screenshot at one of our meetings. And signs. We put out sandwich boards when we have actual meetings to get people to come, to be aware of them. And our old ones got just a tiny bit beaten up. So we got new ones, and it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it took us years to get these signs, years. And there must have been at least 3 different sets of people involved with them. And it's just sort of a miracle to have these bright, shiny signs. And as I recall, the first time we put them out, somebody stole one.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. That is the kind of stuff that Jeannie does for volunteer recognition. She has an endless supply of cute and clever ideas. This one is, you're a class act, so it's act, pop, yeah. And you're a crackerjack of a volunteer. This is Paul's favorite. We're over the moon. So you get a moon pie, a Milky Way, and stars. And she's been doing this every year. They're so much fun. This is the refurbished Echo Lake Park playground. And Barbara Lacey is the one in the red jacket. And then of course, Jeannie. And Barbara was just, she really wanted a turtle in the park. And our parks director was not enthusiastic about the idea at all. And then Jeannie joined her, and they just talked him around, and he surprised them with a turtle, which he named Barbara Jean. So when you go to Echo Lake Park or you walk the Interurban Trail, wave at Barbara Jean the turtle. That's me. That was one of our meetings when we were actually meeting in person, and the board surprised me with a beautiful little plant arrangement, mostly to thank me for my work with the Shoreline Area News. And this is Gidget, and this year Gidget received the Volunteer Recognition Award Community Service Person for the Shoreline Community College Foundation. And it's a very big deal, and we're very proud of Gidget. This is Dwight, our founder. He's with Rod Dembowski, who's our county council representative. And as Jeannie said, Dwight started the neighborhood, kept it going by himself for like 8 years, and then he told us he wanted to step down, so we put our heads down and ignored him, and he had to do it for another year. And finally we decided to take pity on him, and it took 5 of us to replace him. It really did. So then he stayed really involved for a couple more years, and then he started turning his attention to veterans things. He was a World War II fighter pilot. So he started the Shoreline Veterans Association, and then he said we need to have a place to honor the veterans. So the city worked with him and gave him the plot of land outside of the council chambers, directly north of the city hall, for a Shoreline Veterans Recognition Plaza. He got starter money, I think $20,000 from Rod and the county council. They got into it, had beautiful designs. And he had reached a point where he needed to give a chunk of money to people who were building these little individual, I don't know if you call them plinths, but little individual stone markers for each branch of the service.
Obelisk. Obelisks.
Well, are they
Obelisks,
called that when
Dwight
they're
called
those
them.
tiny little short ones?
Yeah, that's what Dwight called them.
Oh, okay, obelisks. He needed the money for that, and what they're doing is selling engraved bricks. You pay, I think it's $100 now, and you can have a brick engraved with your veterans information, and then you have it placed in at the plaza itself. And he was going around every event during 2 summers selling bricks. Didn't come up with the money, went back to Rod, and Rod gave him another 20,000. And I said, I wrote Rod a note and I said, oh, I see you gave Dwight some more money. And he said, who can say no to Dwight? So we got it built, and each one of these is for one of the 5 branches of the service. And they have a place for flags for each one of the service people. So like this one. So here they are all cleaned up, and this is the finished product and the flag for that particular plinth. So it's really nice. So then the other thing that we have is we've actually had, I think, 2 people from the Echo Lake neighborhood go onto the city council, but that's not really typical for us. We are more like the behind the scenes people, and it hasn't been every committee, but almost every committee that the city has ever formed has had somebody from Echo Lake on the committee. We like to be in there influencing things. So this is Dennis Terpstra, who's here tonight. And he was on the last big committee we had was the sidewalk committee. And this is Dennis standing on the sidewalk to nowhere. This is a stretch of sidewalk that's on the east side of Meridian. And you can't get to it unless you're in the street. There's even a curb cut. I'm trying to imagine somebody in a wheelchair in that stretch of Meridian, and it's just not a pretty thought. But what Dennis did do as a member of the committee, he knew that there was some money left over. So he talked to them about this 1-block stretch that would connect the 195th trail to the interurban trail at Echo Lake. And they said, that's a great idea. So because Dennis suggested it, they did it. So now the trail, this is looking, the lake and the interurban trail are at your back. You're looking up the hill. The Greek Orthodox Church is just on the right. And then across the street is Echo Lake Elementary. So that was that. They had a formal ceremony. That's Mayor Will Hall and some of the older kids from Echo Lake Elementary having the official ribbon cutting. Although I'm not sure those wooden scissors would actually cut ribbon, but must have worked. And then of course, as we talked about before, we put lots of energy into the Densmore pathway, which is a pretty wonderful thing. It was an unused right of way that never got an alley built. I'm not even sure it's big enough to be a real street. But it was a big problem for the people who had backyards on it because it was incredibly overgrown. People were sleeping there, leaving garbage, people were dumping stuff. And so that group of neighbors got together and worked with the city, got money, and created a pathway. They cleaned it out. They put in one of the neighbors is a landscape architect, had the equipment, he dug it out. They put in a gravel pathway, plantings, won a national award. And then the woman who was spearheading it moved to Pennsylvania. And then that's when Marla and her husband, Matt, stepped up and took it over. And they've done very wonderful things with it, like this. The pathway on Ashworth, which runs, it's 188th, runs from Ashworth to Densmore to Ashworth. Densmore pathway runs from Ashworth to Densmore. So we have this wonderful little free library, which Marla says is really heavily used, sees people there all the time. And then put in a bench. Marla found this beautiful bench.
Excuse me.
Hmm?
Marla didn't find the bench.
She didn't find it?
No, I found it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ellen found the bench.
Okay.
And Matt put in the concrete pad. I do remember that. And we put in this really nice bench, and the little free library is right next to it. And so you can see the gravel pathway here. And then they built a kiosk for when we had newsletters, Marla would put them in there. things of interest about the city, about the neighborhood, any kind of public announcement we have can go in the kiosk. And here's my favorite. When my husband Paul looked at this picture, he thought he was looking at an aquarium, Marla. I thought that will make Marla very, very happy. This is an art installation. It's metal fish and grasses, pampas grass or something. And the idea is fish swimming through the water. And that's just to the right of the entrance of the pathway when you go in. This is one of my favorite pictures. Gidget, I think you took this picture.
Mhm.
So so as Marla said, gardening parties, and we've done anywhere from what, besides the stuff that you do when you just go over there and work on it, you've had like 2 to 4 parties a year.
Yeah.
taking care.
Ellen started those and then I joined in. Things just kind of, we kind of trade back and forth. But yeah, usually in the spring and in the fall, and hopefully we'll be able to resume it this spring on a small scale. Yeah.
Well, Ellen and her husband Pat kept the plants watered for years. Are you still doing that, Ellen? I think I lost Ellen.
I don't think there's anything that needs to be watered right now. Usually with
Well,
the first year, that's
yeah.
about it. First year.
Yeah, we haven't done it since the 3rd year.
Well,
or
isn't that
4th
when
year.
it's so important, those first couple of years
Yeah,
to get your plants established?
right.
So this was from a work party and I'm pretty sure it was raining that day.
I noticed something else in that picture too. See the sidewalk or the crosswalk behind it?
Yeah.
That was because Matt talked to the mayor at the time and asked for a sidewalk. And he actually,
That's the one you were talking about.
that was pretty spectacular. That was just the luck of the having a conversation with on that one day in the summer, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, at a work party at Echo Lake, our annual work party. And then the mayor was there helping and we got that suggestion and it happened. We got a crosswalk because it's a busy street. So that was nice to get a crosswalk put in.
And that's Diane Lindbergh there, right? Diane Lindbergh?
Is that you? Oh, I thought it was,
Not you? Or maybe it's,
I think it's Ellen.
Might be Ellen.
I think it's Ellen.
I've got a picture further on, we can tell. No, I thought it was Dana.
No.
It's an anonymous
no.
Echo Lake volunteer.
It could be me. It's either Ellen or me.
Maybe
Ellen,
we can tell me. Oh, so,
one of us, doesn't matter.
so Dana's wearing light blue.
Yeah, that's Dana.
And
that was Dana's garden. She maintains that one.
I don't see anybody in dark blue there. And this is Donna Franklin. Donna is the one who started the gardening weeding parties at Echo Lake Park that we're still doing. She led them for years and then she stepped back to do other projects, one of which is at Echo Lake Elementary, and I have one shot of that. And here's a couple of stalwart volunteers. It looks like Larry and Jay. And that's Barbara Guthrie. She was on the board for many, many years and she's still active here and there. She'll come in and do things like with Ellen with the welcome committee. And who is this person? I don't know who that is. Is that?
That's Jay Lindbergh.
Oh, that's Jay. He doesn't look, he's
Yeah,
got
there he is.
blue glasses. Okay.
There he is. Hi, Jay.
We've got Jay and Jay in this one.
Jay and Jay.
Yeah, that's the 2 J's.
Yeah. And who is this? I can't remember.
She was a one-time type volunteer, and we'd have to look up her name, but she was delightful. We were so glad.
Really,
yeah, so glad she joined us.
I know it's fun when people just sort of drop in. And there's Ellen.
Yeah,
Okay, so Ellen's wearing bright blue. That wasn't Ellen in the other picture.
that's probably me. I have a coat like that.
Okay. Okay. And the last one, this is Donna Franklin again.
And that's her garden.
Oh, so everybody has their own little plot that they take care of?
Some, yeah.
They kind of watch out for it, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's kind of a nice way to do it. Okay, now this is a work party in Echo Lake Park. We do that every year. Well, except last year we didn't. We do that every year on the 3rd Tuesday in July in lieu of our regular meeting time. And from 4 to 6, we have this big work party, and we get so many people coming to that. I mean, it's kind of incredible how many people we get. And it's mostly turned into weeding and mulch, and huge piles of mulch and many wheelbarrows.
And blackberries and cattails.
Oh, well, I've got cattails. Yes, look at here. See the pile of bark in the back? We had a couple of those, and people were wielding wheelbarrows. This is Joe Campagna. He's the district court judge, and he's an absolute fiend with a wheelbarrow. It was hard to get him to hold still to take the picture. Oh, I know. In the photo I didn't get that I really need to add to this presentation is Chris.
Robert.
Thank you. I've only known him for 15 years. Chris Roberts, who's on the city council, was mayor for a while. He comes every year and helps us, and he wades into the blackberries. I mean, he gets my vote just for all the blackberries he's pulled. And we never seem to have a shortage of them, unfortunately. There's Jay with a wheelbarrow, and Marla. And Pat, is that you? I think, Pat Deacon, is that you? Right there?
I think it is, yes.
Yeah. So what is it, about 2 blocks worth that we do? The equivalent, maybe a
About
little.
that.
Yeah.
And Gidget's helped with the work party too, organizing it. Her and Marla.
Now there was more weeds than I thought there were. Look at all of those dandelions.
That's
those
Claudia.
pulled up.
That's Claudia there.
I thought it was. Okay,
Yeah.
Claudia.
Yep.
Now this is a different project. This isn't technically an Echo Lake neighborhood project, but it's spearheaded by active members of the group, and with our cooperation here and there. This is the Midvale Garden, and it's on 192nd, just a block up from Aurora and along the interurban trail. It's a chunk of land that belongs to Seattle City Light, and you can't build anything on Seattle City Light, so they just ignore whatever's there. They certainly aren't weeding it. And it had grown up, the blackberries were up into the trees. It was just solid undergrowth, and the undergrowth was ivy and blackberries and other invasives you don't want. There were people that were sleeping there, doing drugs there. There was garbage. And so it was Derek Chrysler and David Chen and Harriet Bly are the ones that I know that were really, really involved with this. And they started talking to people and recruiting the neighbors. And they've worked very, very hard to get it cleaned out. This pile is all a pile of stuff that was cut from inside. Jeannie and Larry, I know you were there for one of the work parties. The city came and picked up all of the stuff that they cut out. And then Derek affiliated with a group called Dig and Shoreline and got money from them to hire the Earthcraft farm goats to come in. This goat has kind of gone off the rails because I don't think he's supposed to be up chewing on the trees. But his compatriots are doing their duty, and so they did munch down quite a bit of stuff. I think I took this photo, and I think it was before the no, the fencing is up. The must have been ready for the goats. And when they started, you couldn't even tell you couldn't tell how many trees there were. It was solid all the way up to there, just incredible. So they've at least cleaned it up that much. And this is Donna Franklin's project. Donna, as I said, started with the Echo Lake work parties, and then she moved on to Echo Lake Elementary. And they had this, the building has wings. I don't know if everybody is familiar with the school, but it has wings that stick out. And so you have these semi-enclosed courtyards on 3 sides, and they don't do anything with them. And this one was particularly unattractive because it was a hillside, and it has a concrete retaining wall about 3 feet high down at the bottom, and then the doors into the building. So Donna asked the school if she could build a garden there, and they said, go for it. So she built a garden that has the 4 zones, the 4 climate zones of the Pacific Northwest. And I can't remember, one was temperate, one was alpine. I don't remember the others, but then she put the typical plants for that region in each one. And a lot of us went down and helped with the clean out because of course it was full of blackberries. Everything around here is full of blackberries and ivy. So we cleaned it all out and then she started planting it. And she worked with the teachers and they came up with a curricula that was about the plants and the botany. And they formed a club. So it's actually, I think it's called the Green Thumb Club, and it's fourth graders. And they're now the ones that maintain the garden. They go out, they work, I think, once a week during certain, growing season, and they go out and they clean it up. But they have the teachers incorporate this into their learning. So it's been a really incredible thing. So we can claim it. Okay, water testing. So this photo is from 2003 on Echo Lake. And that's the Guthrie clan. That's Barbara Guthrie. I think that's Ann Guthrie. And that's Barbara's husband, Ken Romdahl. And they went out for years out into the lake, getting water samples for King County to test. The dock and the boat belong to Barbara Lacey, who lives on the lake. And we've done as much as we can to, we've worked with the Environmental Services Department at the city of Shoreline, trying to educate people about how to keep our waterways healthy. And like not using pesticides, not using fertilizer, not washing your car and letting the soap go down into the water. Echo Lake drains into Lake Ballinger drains to Macalaire Creek drains to Lake Washington drains to Puget Sound. So that thing about Puget Sound starts here is really true. But this project, we started this project with the very beginning of the neighborhood. It predates all of us. I found out that one of my neighbors, Sandy LaMontagne, she and another woman were the first ones that did the water sampling, and they did it for a lot of years. So, and we're still going to be involved with it again, I guess. So that's another fun volunteer job. And then the cattails. Now, Marla tells me that there are two different kinds of cattails. One is invasive, one's okay. They're pretty easy to pull, but you can only do it at certain times of the year. You have to be trained to do it. You can't just send anybody out without knowing what they're doing. Barbara Lacey went out with her family and they did a whole bunch. And then we had, I think, 2 parties pulling cattails.
Right.
So we really get into it. You can see, look at how big that stand is. And that's Barbara Guthrie.
The concern is the nesting of the birds and also the fish. So Fish and Wildlife for the state of Washington only give you a certain time when you can remove the invasive plants in the areas, in those areas. And that happens to be just the month of August, and that's about it.
So it was a really short period of time, wasn't it, Marla? A couple of weeks? Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's not that
they have a pamphlet.
Yeah, it's
they
not
have a pamphlet that you have to have with you on site when you're there working. And it to show that you've read it and that you're following the calendar, basically is what it is.
So getting volunteers together, getting it organized, getting the bins there, yeah. So it's amazing that you did as much as you did. There's Barbara Lacey. That's Anne Michelle. She lives on the lake and is very worried about. And this is a guy who showed up, one of those one-time volunteers, and just worked his heart out. Look at him, he's up to his waist in the water. And that was what, 2 hours work and 5 bins worth, and there was still plenty more to go. So
yeah,
it's
over several years. That was a couple of years ago. And then, so we've got several years worth of pictures. We would have done it again this year, except that the lake was closed because of the blue-green algae. So we had to delay it and postpone it. We had planned on doing it earlier in the summer, but because of that blue-green algae, cyanobacteria, they had the big signs that said no swimming, the lake is closed during that time.
So that just gave them more time to grow. Yeah, so this is definitely an ongoing volunteer project, trying to do something, trying to get the cattails cleared out. Oh, look at them. Okay. And then this was the one exciting thing that happened this last year. And I give credit to our recently retired Parks Director, Eric Friedley, we've had problems for years with the restroom in Echo Lake Park. And of course, it's so important to have a restroom there, particularly now that we have that really nice playground. But the restroom was, the Echo Lake Park, about a third of it belongs to Seattle City Light. So you can use it, you can plant grass, but you can't put anything permanent on it. So they kept putting our restroom back in, snuggled under the trees, which made it nice and private for the people that got kicked off the bus at the end of the line. And people were doing drugs in it and trashing it. And it was always just such a problem to keep it up.
We burned it.
Yeah, I finally got a big fire in it, and then we didn't have any power for our picnic again.
Well, and that was a rebuilt one too, wasn't it, Jeannie, the one that got melted?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we'd had one for years that was pretty trashy, and they were trying to discourage people from camping out in there, and they took the bottom off the door, and they made it a unisex bathroom, so if
Yeah.
somebody was occupying the one side, you could still get in the other ones.
Utilities in one side and one restroom, and then they melted the plumbing and burned the wiring, and it was a mess.
It was a mess. It was a mess. So Eric found this. It's called a Portland Blue, and it's apparently, you can go ahead and chime in, Pat. It's apparently really easy to clean and to get graffiti off. I've got a couple of photos of it. And it has it's open down at the bottom, those sorts of great things. It's rather nice inside. And it certainly beats the Santa can that we had to use for 2 picnics.
Yeah.
Oh. And
Don't wanna talk
but
about that.
what we're realizing with Pat there is that it really requires constant surveillance. And that's what Pat's been doing that we appreciate so much. They clean it, they come in and clean it and stock it every morning, but you still have to keep your eye out for it. And the other thing that Pat's been telling us that I think is so important is that with the pandemic, everything shut down. So people that have to drive, people, like delivery people, there were no restrooms for them to use, and they so appreciated this one. And look at that. That was the city put that cute little, does it have any functional purpose, or is it just decorative? Do we know?
Keep
I
cars
believe
from
it
backing
protects it
into
from
it.
cars.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
I think it protects it from cars backing into it.
Oh,
And there were poles. I'm not sure if they've been taken out or not. I don't see it. Was this a very recent picture?
No.
I think there may also be a pole, or at least there were at one point, but it's to keep people from driving into it, I believe.
that makes a lot of sense, especially since it's right next to the street in the parking lot. So anyway, we were delighted to have this. We're also delighted to have the refurbished park with a walking path. Yeah, so the other thing that's happening is we have three little free pantries in the Echo Lake neighborhood. This is the one that is in the Northridge neighborhood. LaShawna, kind of around the corner from you. It's down the Windy, if you know that street, and it's on the corner of 6 Northeast and Northeast 200. Sometimes it's really full like this, and sometimes it's practically empty. But we do have it. And the other one that came in quite recently is this one at Shoreline Covenant Church, and it's at the corner of 185th and Ashworth. And then the third one is sort of a ad hoc one. It's just like 3 doors up the street on Ashworth from this one, and it's against a fence, and somebody put a couple of boards in a V shape, and then put a couple of shelves in it, and that's being stocked too. But obviously, it's out into the elements, so you are not going to put boxes of things there. Not a good place for the macaroni.
Yeah, I have a question.
Say what?
Bill,
I had a question there. Yeah. So I'm up in the north end of the shoreline, up by 193rd, and we kind of like go on walks in the area, and we stumbled on a few of the little free libraries. But is there a map somewhere that says where they all are?
Yeah, I have a couple of maps.
Can you put that link in the chat or somehow share it with the group?
I will send it out. I'm gonna write something about it anyway. I
Okay, cool.
I published one of the maps because I published a story about these two wonderful women in Lake Forest Park who are stocking all of the pantries in Shoreline. They collect money from
Are you
their,
asking libraries or the pantries?
sorry?
Well, I guess mostly the libraries, the Littlefield libraries.
I don't
Yeah.
do
Yes,
that.
the
There,
pantries are part of that.
Those find if you look up Little Free Library, they have a map that you can access, and it'll show the ones that people have registered.
yeah, it's national, what you're talking about. So I
Yeah.
never bothered trying to do it in Shoreline. And a
Okay.
lot of them were,
Are the pantries part of the Littlefield library? Or are they separate from it?
they're separate.
Yeah.
Although we've got one in, I think, Lake Forest Park that does both. And one of them started as a library, went to a pantry, went back to a library. So it sort of depends on who's taking care of it. They're all basically individually sponsored, I should say, individually owned. Somebody starts them.
Yeah, because I remember we walked around the neighborhood, and I forget where it was, but there was a Littlefield library that was there, and then one day it was knocked over, like somebody had hit it with a car or something, and then the next week the entire thing was gone. It's like, okay, I guess that's gone.
That's too
you know
bad.
what that one was?
Over at Shoreline Senior Center.
Okay.
We could try to locate the Little Free Libraries. I had started to do that and then I stopped cold because there was some woman that was going around and taking all of the books.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe I don't want to advertise these. Maybe I'll just let neighbors find them on their own street.
There's one on our street, Bill, on 190th between Burke and Wallingford. There's one there, and then there's one on Wallingford, just south of 190th. So I know of those.
The one on Wallingford, the cross street is 189th. It's right at the end of
Yeah.
189th. That is just one block between Burke and Wallingford.
Yeah.
And of course we have ours on the Densmore Pathway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and we got to keep moving along.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Because we're getting to be 8 after 8, and if we want roundtable time. So how many, do you have quite a few more pictures?
I don't know.
Okay.
But so
Okay.
this is the picnic, and there's Jeannie and Carolyn who have served the picnic. Jeannie does wonderful things by feeding the multitudes.
Carolyn's my right arm. I would not do the picnic without her.
And it's just a really good opportunity for people to sit and chill out and talk to other people. And we started inviting every politician that was running for office or in office because we found out that they're terrific social mixers. And that's me and Bear, who he wasn't there last year, but he volunteered every year before that. Well, and somehow when there's food, there's cops.
Our police chief, our canine, Paula, our block watch person, and Captain, I think it's Kanoski. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just, people relaxing, enjoying. We always have games and stuff for the kids and get somebody to supervise them. And the other thing that we do is at the picnic is we collect money and food for Hope Link, and we collect books for the Council of Neighborhoods book sale. Of course, none of these happened this year, but we typically donate 600 to 700 books and have 4 or 5 volunteers at the book sale.
We had 1,000 books last time.
And that's where we get most of our income, is our share of the profits from the book sale. But as Dale said, it was flat this year. And then the Frolic at the Lake, this is something that was all Marla started up 2 Thursdays in August, where she got food trucks. So we didn't have to have somebody do all the food planning and preparation, and it made it really easy. She got a lot of,
Dave Marla.
every time she had it, we had one that had the main dish, and then we had the dessert. And this is a year that we had the Sweet Pearl Bakery, because she brings a canopy. That's that cool bakery in Richmond Beach. And this was, Marla, what are you doing here? I thought it was crafts, but
This is the last food truck event. That's the Hispanic dancers that came.
Yeah.
They've moved around Shoreline a little bit. The kids that came and did the dancing. So that's one of the moms. And we're hanging up the decorations before the kids started showing up to do the
those are the
dancing there.
decorations. Oh,
So
thank
if
you.
we're in a food truck event, so we usually try to have some entertainment or some music or some singing. So this is some of the kids that were there and they loved getting the cupcakes. That was Sweet Pearl Bakery, has the canopy that she's located, and she's open right now down there in Richmond Beach, across the street from QFC. Yeah.
And the face painting is always popular.
That's Aubrey.
Kids are so
She's
cute.
in-
This is
Yeah.
everybody
Aubrey's from
watching.
Ballinger neighborhood. We got her to come and do face painting. She's a preschool teacher at Edwin Pratt.
Well, look how good she is. It was so much
my
fun to just
goddaughter, too.
so much fun to sit there and have all these decorated kids running around. And these are the dancers. This is the first year we had them. They're so adorable. And we were their first public performance, weren't we? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, they later on that summer they were over at Burgers Bog for an international event that I think Ballinger Lake neighborhood had put on. That was a heritage festival. I think they had. It was a pretty big event, and these kids have become quite popular. Prior to COVID. So hopefully they're still practicing somewhere. Hopefully they're getting a chance.
Yeah, and they're ours too, because they're at Echo Lake, out of Echo Lake Elementary. And
Yeah.
Cops again, yes. We had a trio, and this is the lineup for the food truck, although you really didn't have to wait all that long. And the marimba band, I just love that. I mean, I can't believe that there are 6 people in Puget Sound that not only play marimba, but own them. But I like them. I'd like to have them again if we could, because it just seemed like the right kind of music for a hot day under the trees.
Mhm.
And then the robotics club is playing catch with a robot. And this is
the Bubble Man.
Yeah, you may need to move your people to see the Bubble Man, but he's really a hoot and people enjoyed him. This is how we do meetings now. I didn't bother to put them all up because they all look pretty much the same. But it's really cool that we're still able to have our meetings. We're still able to bring speakers in and stay informed. And this is something that we have always done. Our kind of mission is civic engagement. So if we want to know about something that's happening in the city, we invite somebody to come tell us about it, and they always do. And these last few were a few from National Night Out, and I think we had like between 4 to 7 National Night Out parties in the Echo Lake neighborhood, and this is the one on the Densmore side of the Densmore Pathway. Ellen, I think, was hosting this. And if you register ahead of time, you'll get the cops or the fire department or both. And a big deal is always letting the kids go into the vehicles. And this is Jeannie's contribution. She just wanted to point out that we are becoming famous. Things are being named after ELNA.
It's funny.
That's it.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane and
So-
Jay and everybody.
Things to come.
Yes. Well, that was a great addition. So you were saying that, part of our focus is engaging and providing a forum for sharing information. Diane Hetrick is our famous communications person and editor of the ShorelineAreaNews.com. If you haven't seen ShorelineAreaNews.com, check it out. That's where I get my information. And so tonight we want to hear from you. So, and sharing information. So today was a national remembrance of the 400,000 people that lost their lives to COVID. And there were amber lights around the nation. So I have our little amber light here tonight to remember those 400,000 people that lost their lives.
Yeah.
There were also many affected by the disease. And so we remember all of those people. And so aside from the fact that so many lives were lost and affected, I thought that, you know, we try to do a positive note on our roundtable. So I thought, well, maybe those of us that might have found some brightness about the COVID. And for instance, it is 36 degrees, 35 degrees in our backyard. It's dark. We didn't have to drive to a meeting at City Hall tonight. So that would be a positive for this. And so what I'd like to do is hear from each of you about something that is maybe a positive thing. And if not, negative things are okay too. So because we don't have a ton of time, I will say that we're always looking for meeting topics. So if you have a meeting topic, you could throw it in with your comment too. So I'd like to hear from each of you. You're not obligated. If you'd rather pass, you don't have to participate, but no pressure. I will start with Gidget because she's my first square. So Gidget, would you enlighten us with some thoughts?
I think it's always important to have speakers from the city on important things that are going on that might affect our neighborhood. I had heard that one of the ideas for Shoreline Park, which we haven't really done very much with, is that they want to, the city is talking about putting a pavilion in that park. And it's a small little park, so I'm not sure where they're going to put the pavilion and what their thoughts are. So it'd be nice to hear about that. I think the other concern that I really have in our neighborhood is that we have many townhouses going up. And one of the concerns, Dale, if you would pitch in about this, is how they have the garbage cans kind of lined up on the sidewalks. And for walkers, there's sometimes that it's difficult to get through the sidewalk. And if certainly sometimes someone in a wheelchair certainly couldn't get through, but it looks a mess. And I was looking at it, I should have taken a picture of a street that had 8 houses, and each house had 2 or 3 garbage cans, 1 block long. And if each of those 8 houses were developed by a developer that built 6 townhouses, that's
18.
18. No, there'd be more than that. I was thinking
3 times a unit.
8 houses, and each house was replaced by, yes,
24,
by
yeah.
6 townhouses or 8 townhouses. And,
So that'd be 48 units.
24.
and each unit
Times
had 2 or 3 garbage cans in that one block. That is going to be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We
there's
told
gotta be a better
the
way.
planners that.
Well, they didn't hear, I guess.
I guess not, no. I think what we have to do is you do the see, click, and fix. That's what I did. And keep doing it and keep doing it, because they've got to come out there and start patrolling, especially this particular unit right here. They are notorious for leaving them out 7 days a week. There's no reason why they should do that. And there's litter. I just noticed it the other day. I got to take some more pictures and send it in over there to customer response team, and they will come out, and hopefully if enough of us speak up, they'll start going out there and giving them the violation warnings.
That's on the city website, right, Marla?
Customer response team?
No, the click and fix thing is on.
Oh, see, click and fix.
It's an app.
Website that's all over the country, if not the continent and worldwide. And that is one way to do it when you have photos you want to upload and to send them, and then that concern will then be sent to the proper division within the government, whether it's City Light, a futility issue, a code issue violation that's in the city of Shoreline. It's either that or just call up customer response team. And when I did that early this year, the gentleman who was our contact, I guess, with his
Yeah.
role, he went
Yeah.
out there and actually moved the cans himself, because I went back over and checked and they'd all been moved back. But they continue to do it. And when I took those pictures that Diane held up there, you know, and like you said, Gidget, if over here where I live, we've got 7 townhomes going in a very narrow, tiny little street, goes way back. So we got a very small street front. So 7 times 3 is 21 on any day when there's every one of those bins is being picked up. That's 21 bins all on the street. Somehow out there on a sidewalk over here on Ashworth, and then across the street, we're supposed to get 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. So I don't know if the city realizes what's going on, but.
Well, we'll keep reminding them. So Dennis, we didn't give you a chance to speak.
Unfortunately, those are old code. They were current city code at the time and allowed. And I think that the city code has changed. Certainly the type of developments have changed. You know, and what's being built by my house, or what it was built by my house, which includes that monstrosity photo that you saw.
Yeah.
Is certainly something that we were never sold. We were sold a bill of goods that showed lovely little cafes and balconies overlooking the street and things like that. And instead what we got is big, ugly 3- and 4-story blank walls facing the street. The city has changed those codes, I know, but we're stuck with what's under construction right now.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep reminding them is what I'm thinking.
So I can tell you this: if some of those garbage cans start ending up out in the street, things will happen.
So back to Dennis. Dennis, did you have comments you'd like to share?
It's you, Dennis.
I didn't hear the question.
Well, we were talking about either positive things about the negative COVID, or negative things or comments or topics for meetings. You're free to speak.
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, and that's okay. I said if you could pass if you wanted to.
Okay.
So thank you. Thanks for all you do. Okay, Diane Hetrick.
Oh, just something that I have a genealogy group that I belong to. And of course, it's not rooted to a particular place. And we've started doing our meetings on Zoom. And all of a sudden, the people attending the meeting are saying, well, I'm in Texas. I'm in Washington, D.C. We're Bellingham. We're getting all of those people that could never come to our meetings because, I mean, we had a guy from Olympia who used to drive up, but now they can just get on their computers and they can be in the meetings. It's really kind of cool.
That's great. Well, thank you for that. Diane Lindbergh.
I was going to share, and I'm going to say this on behalf of Dennis too, that my positive thing is my husband Jay and I took advantage of COVID this summer and having the time, since we were home so much and not traveling, to redo our deck and put in that Trex type of board decking where it will last until the rest of our days. And I know Dennis and Gidget did the same in their yard. So I'm sharing on behalf of Dennis as well.
Good job.
There you go. And both of you guys could do their own work. That's the beauty of that.
Well, that's why we had to do it now while we still could.
Well, the positive thing out of that was Jay and Diane encouraged us. And since they kind of led the way, we decided we could do it.
There you go. See, positive energy. That's what we like. Okay, thank you. Jay Sundahl.
Okay. Well, we kind of echo some of the stuff that Diana's seen. another group that I'm involved with has had Zoom meetings where in the past the meetings were all physical and the attendance was luckily, somewhere in the 30s, a good day 40s perhaps. And we're getting 80 or 90 meetings, people meetings now, and reaching a broader, more diverse group of people than we were in the past because of the ability to get there without having to fight traffic and fight parking in a central location. So we were planning on doing remote access for years, and this pushed us to do it right away. It forced our hand, and it got us off the dime. So that was a good thing.
Great. That's great. Thank you. Marla.
The good thing about this, I guess, is it's getting people outside and moving and recognizing what we have right here in our own spaces next to where we spend most of our days indoors, sleeping or with our families or working, sitting on a bus when we used to drive and commute downtown. Now we've got more time, whether retired or still working. I see people running by before they have to get on the internet and start their meetings, or teachers that are living near me that are out and about. It's the appreciation for nature and the timing of it all with climate change and what's going on with politics. It's nice to see people out and going over to Sky Nursery and finding out that all the seeds have been sold out because everybody's putting in their own vegetable gardens, and all the flour is gone from the grocery store because everybody's starting to bake. And I just love the enthusiasm. People are taking things on to do healthy things for their families, themselves, mentally and physically. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Marla. Bill and Cindy.
Yes. Yes, hello. What?
Your words of wisdom here.
Yeah. I don't have anything, I guess.
Okay.
Your words of wisdom about anything in general, or?
Well, we were talking about if there were positive things out of the COVID. Some had some to share.
No.
Are you going to work or working from home?
I'm working from home. I've been working from home since like March.
Okay.
And so it really hasn't changed that much, except I pay less in gasoline.
Yeah, so you're
so yeah, I mean,
Ellen, just a minute.
We have a big commute.
That's great. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Ellen, you had something?
I had something. I just wanted to say I've really enjoyed the walking in the unpolluted air, except for that week when we were smoked out.
Yeah.
But just seeing the sky so clear without a lot, and the air quality better.
Good.
I really appreciate it.
And I can verify she and Pat walk a lot. They're always walking by. I'm impressed. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Pat and Claudia.
I think I felt like I've had my wings clipped a little bit. I'm retired, so but I used to take the bus all over the county and hike and in different neighborhoods. But I've been focusing more on our neighborhood, and that's why I've gotten into my neighborhood, Echo Lake. I find beauty there. I for a while I thought it was kind of a dump, when my kids were little, they'd swim. They used to swim there, and I don't think it's I don't know. I had kind of a negative feeling toward it, but I don't anymore. I really like the red-winged blackbirds and the ducks. Today the geese were back. I have mixed feelings. There were 45 geese. They're not commuting anywhere. They're permanent. They're in this area. And the cormorants they have a low sound that's a very interesting sound in the evening when they come. And it's been, I've been very interested with what I've learned at the working at Echo Lake. I really find it peaceful, and I see bicyclists and kids playing on the playground frequently. There are new signs that just went up that said this is open now for playing, but there have been kids playing there, and I see people fishing and walking their dogs. I'm just trying to think some of the better things. I've made friends there, friends of, and I've gotten to know Dan. I know Dan by emailing. I usually email him once a week or so. I'm concerned about this, and he says, "Well, I'll get right on it."
And Dan is Parks Department.
He said, yeah, he took Friedley's place. I think as head of the.
Yeah.
And there's some problem. There are problems. I really enjoy Gidget's talk about honesty, directness. I wrote it down. She said, honest, direct, and respectful. There's a man there that I ran into that feeds the ducks. And and I really wonder, I've known a few people feeding ducks, and it's how to be direct, and yet they aren't about to change. He's not about to change his habits because of me, but I kind of wonder, respectful, that I'm going to have to think about this a little bit, because I bring it up and I want to be direct, respectful, and tell him that what dangers I see, and maybe one day he'll stop feeding them.
Well, and Pat, you might be glad to know that on the city council's agenda for Monday is prohibiting waterfowl being fed in shoreline parks.
Okay.
And
Well,
if that goes through, there may end up being signage that might help.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of what I wanted to say. Is I've found, and I've enjoyed the park at. I enjoy the new soccer field that's gone in. The new soccer field that's going in. It's bright green compared to the. It looks really nice. Is that the one where they had the hospital tents?
Mhm.
It's not finished, but it's growing in, and it's looking really sharp. People are envious. They want to get out there, but it's going to be a while yet. But it's looking good.
Great.
And so that's all. I think that's about it. It keeps me engaged.
Good.
I've been writing more emails, and that's all. That's enough.
Well, we like it. We like it.
Okay.
Thank you again for all your work. Claudia.
Well, I have three things to say. And the first is that, once again, I want to thank you, Diane, for all the work that you put into the Shoreline Area News. I'm amazed every day when I look at it. And, I'm a faithful reader, and I really appreciate how much work that you put into that. So it's not exactly COVID, but it's a thank you very much. And I also noticed today the notice about the Echo Lake Neighborhood Meeting Association for tonight. And I think that's really great. So thanks. Then the other thing I wanted to say, as far as walking and COVID, some friends and I are still walking at the Shoreline Stadium track Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 until 11. And once again, I'd like to extend an invitation to anyone who would like to join us. We walk at various speeds and number anywhere between 4 and maybe 8 people. And anyway, we'd love to have anyone join. The third thing is a concern that I have, that I wonder if Echo Lake Neighborhood Association might address it at some point. We have a residential street, a cul-de-sac, and one of the houses on our cul-de-sac has a small business, which basically is, I'm not sure if it's selling guns or releasing guns, or anyway, the business with the political situation has really increased the number of guns that are being transported out of our cul-de-sac. And, you know, we're 2 blocks from Echo Lake School. We're a residential neighborhood. We're told that it's a legal business.
A legal business. Is it?
It
legal?
is not illegal.
No, he's an FFL.
Legal.
Yeah.
It is legal.
Yeah.
And, you know, I see this as not something that I want to encourage. And I'm not sure if Echo Lake Neighborhood Association can do anything. It's not something that's popular in our neighborhood, but I think it's a question between individual rights and community rights. So anyway, I'm just raising it as a concern.
Do you know the name of the business?
A Shoreline Technical.
Shoreline Technical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tactical?
Yes.
Okay. Because do you know if they're licensed?
Oh, yes.
Yes, they are licensed. Like I
licensed.
say,
Darn.
it's legal. It is
Okay.
legal.
Yeah, I'm not
But,
sure
you know,
there's anything that could be done, especially from the association.
Check it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll put it in our thoughts. and
Okay,
see,
good.
and
That's
then-
all. That's all
Yeah.
I ask.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keep
And,
going.
I wanted to make it clear that the work that Diane Hetrick does with Shoreline Area News is all volunteer. She is not paid to do what she does. She does a lot of it in the middle of the night and every day. So thank you
Yeah.
again, Diane Hetrick.
Yes.
Okay, yes. And I'm gonna switch down to Lashana and give you a chance. Lashana.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
we
I'm
gotcha.
glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. I also want to say thank you to Diane, and I agree with what Claudia said. I read Shoreline Area News every day. I've been getting it for years. I've been previously in the Ballinger neighborhood. My son goes to Lake Forest Park Elementary, and now I'm in Echo Lake, but I still read it and get it every day, and I would really appreciate that. And that's why I'm here, is because I did see the link as well, and I didn't know that we had an association. I knew Ballinger had an association, but I didn't realize Echo Lake did too. So I'm glad to be here. And I guess I would say a positive thing for me, having my son, he's 10, do school at home, it's allowed me to get a little bit more of a look like a closer look at what he's learning on a day-to-day basis and what he's struggling with. And it's kind of hard when you work full time and you go and you do the parent teacher meetings and all of that stuff, and you get the reports back. But it's like to just kind of have a little bit more of like a day-to-day like insight of what they're getting into has really been helpful for me. And I know the Shoreline School District is right now considering hybrid learning, which I think is a really good idea for the students to do some online school and some in-person school, and start with that and see how that goes, because I know he misses like the interaction with the other kids and his friends and everything like that. So if he could have a little bit of both, I think it would be good, and maybe they want to continue on doing some of that. I don't know, but I've found it positive to have to be able to watch him and kind of monitor what he's doing and what he pays attention to and what he doesn't. And so that's just what I have.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks
And,
everyone.
yeah, thank you. And there's a lot of parents that are being homeschool teachers.
Yeah.
Becoming that way. And if you have a job, you're working from home, and then you have one or more children, it's challenging. So our hearts are with you on that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night. See you later. Okay.
Carol, I'm gonna switch to you now. Can you share with us?
For something positive that's come out of all this?
Positive if you have it, negative's okay too.
Well, the negative part is I really miss meeting with my family and everything, but I'm very grateful for the technology that allows Zoom meetings because we've used those instead of family get-togethers to prevent the spread of COVID. None of us have it, but we don't want to take any chances on giving anybody anything that would make them sick. So I'm very thankful for that because now I use it for family things, I use it for church things, and I use it for these neighborhood meetings. I'm very grateful for the technology that allows us to do that.
Great, and I'm glad you can. Not everybody has that capability, so I'm glad you can do that. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Dale Leiden.
So it's very interesting. I had to drive to Yakima last week in the middle of the week. And with our technology, I was able to attend 2 meetings while I was driving.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's something that really never before had happened. I spent a lot of time in meetings every day. And with all the meetings either at my desk or, you know, or I can, like I say, attend in a car, I could be much more efficient. I'm still extremely busy, but it's really interesting. Again, it's that technology that we never had before. We were able to attend a church service on Christmas Eve in Bellingham, and you know, on any Sunday you can attend a church service in a number of different places. And certainly our church has gone back to live, but it's fairly limited. And you know, it's kind of neat to be able to attend different meetings that way, and you get tired of the Brady Bunch boxes, but at the same time, it really is kind of nice. It's nice to be able to come home, have some dinner, sit in my easy chair and attend a meeting instead of like Gene said, go out to City Hall on a cold, dark, damp, wet night. You know, walk back to a frozen car and drive back home. It's kind of nice. You know, I'm involved in the construction of infrastructure, and it's one of the advantages of having less traffic has been able to do more construction and longer hours per day and things like that. So that's been a real benefit. And I think that it's something that when we all get back on the road and we all get back to wherever cities we used to work at, I think people are going to be amazed at what happened this last year, because we built some incredible projects this last year that half the population doesn't know about.
Yeah.
And I think they're just going to be shocked. And so that's been a real advantage.
Great. That's great. Thank you, Dale. Kathy.
Just quickly, I'll say the flexibility that technology brings means that I can do my part-time work job, 90% of it remotely, which allowed us to drive down to Texas for 5 weeks to help out my daughter and her husband with the 2.5-year-old while they had to work from home. So that's just great. Love it. But then more locally, when all this first started, our neighbors in our cul-de-sac were very intentional about getting together every couple of weeks just in our driveways, and we had, you know, bring your own food potlucks, and so we really got to know some of the people that I only waved at as they drove by, and those relationships are, you know, will continue and strengthen. So that's really a great thing.
See, we can find things positive. Great. Ellen, anything else? You shared one. Anything else? about your walk. Okay, that's great. Well, I think I'm back to Larry. Did you have, Larry?
I like Brady Bunch pictures.
Yes.
The technology is great. I don't care for, if we do get done with this, I don't care about going back to city hall. We can continue this just fine.
The only problem is without some people, which is unfortunate. Well,
Yeah.
for me, my volunteerism is happening from home mostly, or at church when nobody's there, but I'm still really busy. This summer, though, we managed to get some work done at our house. This doesn't usually ever happen. Larry worked down in the yard a bunch and he played in some rocks for, I don't know what, 4 to 6 weeks, fixing up our landscape area. 3 months in the backyard. And we're working on our 800 square foot garage, which is basically full. And we got rid of a number of things through e-cycle in Woodinville and metal recycle at the transfer station and all this, and some things given away. And the garage is still, you have to wrangle around in it. Well, now I don't have time, but it's also really cold out there. So we'll get back to that. But I think the COVID allowed some extra time. And I know a couple of you mentioned that too, that like I didn't have to feed 150 people at the Echo Lake Park this summer. And I put on a free make and take craft festival at our church this would have been the 34th year this year. I work on it all year and a lot in the fall. I didn't have to do that, couldn't do that. So there were some good things, although I just pray every day for those that are affected by COVID. We didn't talk a lot about vaccines, but Larry and I were able to get signed up for vaccines on February 2nd through the UW. So, and I know what Gidget and Dennis got signed up also. And maybe
And me too.
Hendrick, yeah.
Yeah, because you told me about it, but only like Gidget said, I did it at 5 in the morning. So I've got an appointment the 4th of February, and they're now making appointments in March. So yeah, got in ahead of the curve. And Virginia Mason is doing it too. Pacific Medical's not yet.
Yeah, the Phase Finder and some of these, I guess they're state websites, they were crashing and hard to get on, but we had heard from a church friend that was up until now, she's in her 80s, volunteering at Northwest Hospital, said, UW E-Care, you could go in there and make an appointment. And so that's what we did. And I think getting a hold of your, if it's a patient portal or your doctor, and the doctors I'm sure are swamped with calls, but it might be more direct to do that if you're interested and eligible, then go that route. And hopefully there'll be a lot of people getting vaccinated and things will get better in that regard.
Well, considering that all the UW appointments filled up for an entire month in a few hours is an indication that there's great interest in this happening.
And I signed up, Larry and I, for 2 o'clock and 2:15. Well, we don't know if it's a drive-through or not, and you've got a 15-minute period, and so I'm not sure what's going to happen about that. But we have a telemed appointment with Larry's pulmonary doctor next week, so we'll be drilling him about that, whether it's in your vehicle or a walk up or what.
They have a special center. Are you going to Northwest Hospital?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a confirmation email and it said we'll send you more specific information when it gets closer to the appointment time. But it sounds like they've set up a separate station for it. And they're talking about you get there as close to the appointment time as possible. It was really smooth. I think what I figured out is that, and I'll have to see what's in my inbox when we get off here, because I knew everything would change from one day to the next. That's what it's been like with COVID. But King County and the state are running slightly different systems. And that's where some of the disconnect has come. The three big counties, Snohomish, King, and Pierce, are getting fast tracked from the state. But King County had already dumped a lot of money into COVID. They said, we'll just do it now. Dow Constantine said, we'll do it now and we'll get the money back later. Let's just get this going. So we didn't have to go through that state phase finder thing. It's just, it isn't necessary if you are affiliated with a hospital. And that seems to be the key. It isn't individual doctors' offices that are doing it, it's hospital
systems.
Yeah.
Ellen,
Ellen,
did you have something?
Yeah, we got signed up for our first dose through UW and Northwest Hospital, but nothing was said about how you schedule your second dose. And
yes, there was. Yes,
not
there
in
was.
mine.
No, it said right on it, once you sign up for the first one, we will send you a reminder for your second dose.
Oh, good. So they sign you up because
Yeah, no, they're really good. They're really good.
It took us 3 times in the system to get a time accepted. We put in several times and then they'd say, no, won't work. So we had to go back in and it says start over, which was, that was kind of hairy.
I bet you were doing it when everybody else was. And while
when
you
did-
had your finger over the button, somebody else got in there and took that spot.
Yeah,
when
it was
did you
kind of
get-
hairy.
When did you get scheduled for, Ellen?
Saturday at 3:45 and 4, and we're thinking, okay, if it's a drive-through, what are we gonna do? Get out of line and then get back?
Yeah,
in?
that's what I wondered, but
Yeah, we'll
hopefully
find
that
out.
won't be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter works at Harborview and she saw at 3 o'clock, she said, Mom, Dad, look at your email because at 3 o'clock, the appointments are open, So we sat down and got right on it.
Good. Gidget, tell them what you told me, Gidget.
She can't hear you.
Yeah. Some people make their appointment at 3 a.m. and get an appointment for February 2nd. Some other people sleep into normal times and get an appointment 6 hours later and get February 22nd.
So it's one advantage to being up late. Diane Hetrick and I are night owls. Sometimes we conduct ELNA business at 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
And then the rest of us catch up the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
On, like Gidget said, normal hours.
All right. So we've got about 6 minutes left.
Pat-
And
Pat
what,
had something he was gonna do.
Pat?
Under good and welfare.
Oh, yeah. Pat, did you have something? I just want to say that normally we would have public comment and announcements. Well, I think we've had our public comment. So in the last few minutes here, did you want to share your photos?
I can share a couple of pictures. Jay will have to make me a co-host.
No, you should be able to share from your screen right now.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Here we go. Let me see here how I can do this. Oh, no.
Slideshow, is that what you want?
Just pick the one you want.
I think I'm just about there. Okay.
We can see it, Pat.
Good. Why didn't it go?
Just click one of the photos.
There you go. Now.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Okay, okay. Can you see these little birds in here? These are the geese. This is today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
wow.
This is today at the Echo Lake Park. And here's the turtle. Here's the turtle that's there. The
Barbara
playground looks good. It was sunny. It was a
Good.
beautiful day. Oh, I've got a few pictures of something of one of my concerns. So I think somebody's dumping dirt. Can you see? It's I've got a few like that. The piles of dirt I've got Dan. He said he's going to send code enforcement out, but it's on this little strip. These are just, I hope I'm not going too fast.
No,
But
that's fine.
You're
Think
not.
it's
somebody's,
animals?
somebody's making a mess here that I'm not happy about. But
You're on it though, I can see.
well, I'm going to get an opinion on it. It's that little strip from 200 that goes to the park on the very west side, just west of the dental office.
Oh, right.
And
Okay.
I think somebody's been throwing stuff in there.
Okay.
So
Doesn't look like gophers or moles.
No.
Doesn't look like moles.
Okay, now these.
Oh, look at
Oh,
that.
wow.
Come back, come back.
Wow.
I think
Oh
I
my
counted
God.
39.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Oh,
I
that's
kept thinking that
terrible.
the season was over, but they're permanent.
They're not going anywhere. They like it, our neighborhood.
One day I saw them all in Echo Lake playground at the school. I've seen them over there too, but there is a nuisance. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat, send me that photo after the meeting.
Okay, this one here. Yes, yes, I'll do that.
Thank
And
you.
these were just taken this afternoon. These ducks were coming out to see me. They were coming to
Well, they're used to being fed, aren't they?
I talked to them, but that's all they get from me. The lake really is pretty. Really is a pretty sight, I think. And these might be cattails coming back. I'm not sure, but I don't know. There are young, the red-winged blackbirds. Oh, I wondered about this sign for many months. This is not one of our. This isn't. Excuse me. That's not related to our advertising our meeting, is it?
No,
not at all.
No, it's not ours. That would
Well,
be
I'll get rid of it. It's been there a long time. I thought perhaps it was part of our operation.
it could be city or it could be a construction company.
Okay, but I think that's well over. I haven't seen any
Yeah, no,
construction in a long, long time.
It
I'll
doesn't
get-
belong to ELNA.
And this was today. These were right out of the picture that Diane showed of her new drawing of Echo Lake part of bicyclists in the park. Kids
Yeah.
bicycling in the park.
And lots of cars there.
There are often a lot of cars, 7 or 8 cars.
Yeah, that's great.
And I don't think I've got any of the, no, I don't have any of the Lou here, but and this is what I mentioned earlier. See, it's dark green over here. That's what the county is doing on the new soccer field. It looks real inviting. And this is a current soccer field. So that's where the hospital tents were.
Nice.
So it looks, but it's looking very good out there. It's I think that's about it for today. I'll stop sharing.
I want
They,
that one. Hey,
they
I want
were-
that one too, Pat.
Good
Okay.
job, Pat.
Yeah, they were committed to the King County to restoring that field and they did a great job, right?
Yes, they're still working on it.
Okay.
One, today I saw 4 people work. Just a little editorial comment. I saw 4 people working, and they have 2 loos plus a hand washing station. And I was told for years that Metro's not in the toilet business, but I went to the freeway. And I've seen about 10 loos. This King County is in the toilet business. They've got toilets all along the I-5, and not only are they doing well in toilets, they also got the light rail going in as a side issue. So I'm trying to get Metro to say, hey, I think maybe you could get into this because we've got buses running all night long. The drivers are saying last stop, everybody out at 4 a.m. and there's anyway, that's it. I'm done. Thank you.
Pat, I have a
all those
question.
toilets,
Somebody else.
all those toilets are on construction sites, and it's a requirement of most construction contracts. It's an ELNA requirement.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And they're all under contract to the contractors.
Right. And that's a very good law. But it's also reasonable that other people have to need facilities as well. But yeah, thank you.
Pat, I wanted to ask you, is the loo locked at night or is it open all night?
No, it's locked. It's locked.
Okay.
I've never been down there when they've locked it. For some reason, I don't go out at
Don't know why.
I think about 8 p.m., 7 or 8. I understand the police lock it, but I do know they unlock it about 6:30 every morning. So I know it's locked in the evening. And once in a while, I've been talking to Dan, once in a while it's even locked in the daytime, but I haven't been able to quite figure that out. Dan's got a new lock door and a closer or on order, but we're working on that issue. But it is locked at night from about 8 p.m. till 6:30 a.m.
That's a good thing.
Because it's a park. It's a park loo, but there is the transit, which is different. You know, they have their own needs, but a little different.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, that Portland Loo was about, I think it was $113,000
installed. Yeah.
Installed. So we got a big benefit for our park, and we're lucky to have the lake. Ellen, did you have something?
I was just going to say, Pat, if you find it locked during the day, somebody's in it.
That's true many times, but I can tell whether someone is in it or not in it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, when no one is in it and it's locked, that concerns me, you know.
Well, our great yes.
The Ivanka Trump one was 144,000, I think. It was a number of years. So we're really getting we're going to get a bargain in time on ours. If we get 5 years, we're gonna be doing well.
There you go. Well, it's been a fun evening, and I thank you all again. Does anybody have a closing comment because it's 9 o'clock? Ellen, did you? No? Okay, Cindy. Oh, just waving goodbye. And Bill, thanks for coming, you guys. Okay, thank you to everybody. And don't forget our meeting next month on February 16th with Nora Daly Peng and talking about transportation in our neighborhood. So not cars necessarily. What?
Thank you sign again.
Oh, my coach over here.
Nice. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you, everybody. Stay
Take
safe.
care, everyone.
Wash your hands.
Good night.
Bye.
Good job on the meeting.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome. Okay, shall we shut her down?
Sounds good. Good night, everybody.
Bye, Kathy.
Bye-bye.